William Hill, the home of betting.
Well, a very warm welcome to RPTV. You're joining us for our preview of Cheltenham Gold Cup Day, and this is the Cheltenham Gold Cup. I'm delighted to say John Ivan Duke of William Hill and Mr. Graham Rodway himself are here in the studio. Now then, gentlemen, we'll begin with you. John Bobsworth, obviously, cast iron credentials. I know there's a few people in your trading room who have been having a squeaky bum time, shall we say, at the moment over Bobsworth here. He's unbeaten at the track. He looks rock solid. There's not a lot really to crab him on.
Absolutely, and if there was one horse that we want to get beat at Cheltenham, it has to be Bobsworth. He's the 7-4 favourite at the moment with William Hill, and he would be a dreadful result for us if he went in. He's the reigning Gold Cup winner. He did flop in the Betfair, that would be the big concern, but came back strongly in the Lexus, and I think is very much the one to beat. Indeed,
and Graham, I mean, would you be sharing the same opinion as John there?
Yeah, he's the one to beat. I mean, he's unbeaten, isn't he, at Cheltenham? 5 starts, I think, and the way he comes up that hill, you know, when he gets to the bottom of the hill, he absolutely tanks up it, doesn't it? You've seen a horse come up the hill like Bobsworth does, and it's just a great sight, you know. And it was so funny watching last year's race. Coming down the hill, everyone was going, oh no, Bobs is in trouble. And then all of a sudden the camera panned out, and when you saw him on the outside, everyone was pretty certain he was going to win. And the in-running markets, you know, mirrored that really, because he crashed in price on there. And I just think it's going to take an incredibly good performance to beat him around this course, because obviously this is his track.
So would you be interested in backing him now at 7-4, 2 weeks before the race?
I think he's the most likely winner, and you've seen horses go off, particularly you know, when they've come back as reigning champions. Before Best Mate, when he was coming back time and time again, they were going off at shorter than 2-1, so it wouldn't surprise me if he did go off slightly shorter than 2s.
Okay then, well, Sylvian Conti, obviously second favourite, the King George winner, for most people was travelling, well, looking going menacingly well in last year's Gold Cup before crashing out. John, I mean, what would be your take on him? He's done nothing wrong really this season, has he? His King George performance was good, and he must at least lay something down to the favourite here.
Absolutely, and I mean, I backed Bobsworth myself personally out of my own pocket last year in the Gold Cup, and I was very, very afraid of Sylvian Conti. I thought the horse travelled incredibly well into the race, possibly travelling even the best when they came to 3 out, and come a cropper. You know, Sylvian Conti, he's 7-2. We're top price about that at the moment. I thought he ran an absolute blinder in the William Hill King George. And his third in the Betfair as well, he just blew up a little bit. And I thought that was a great comeback performance.
Nichols said he would come on for that before the King George, and it proved true.
Well, exactly, and they've tucked him away. He's going to go to the Gold Cup, and I think he has to be a leading player for it, and I think his 7-2 is probably reflective of his chances. Yeah,
broadcaster John Hunt's been in touch as well. He actually says Sylvian Conti is his bet of the festival, so thanks for that, John. Then Graham, last instalment outside that, obviously comes in on the back of a very impressive display last time out. He's got to have strong claims if he lines up, hasn't he?
He's the one horse in the race I don't like, actually. I think that although he jumps very well, and he was a very impressive winner in Ireland last time, I just don't think that form matches up to those at the top of the market in comparison with Bobsworth, Sylvian Conti and Q-Card. And I also think that there's going to be a massive concern about him on decent ground, presuming that if it did come up anything better than soft, all of last instalment's best form is obviously on soft ground.
They've already put an alarm bar out about that, saying his knees don't often take rattling quick
He's
ground.
had a long time off, hasn't he? And he's never been to Cheltenham, has he, either, so we don't quite know how he's going to act around the track. I'm not a massive fan of last instalment.
Okay then, gents, we'll try and pull this together a bit. Outside the protagonists, if you like, there's a few names that have been mentioned on social media. We've got Sandy Castle says Captain Chris. He's in the form of his life. If Dickie Johnson can get him boxed in on the inside rail, he's got to have a chance at 25-1. Paul S has said, if the ground totally goes to pot, Harry Topper, non-runner, no bet, is a very interesting one because he'll be staying up the hill better than anything. John, if I came to you, is there anything left of field you think here could really shake the market leaders up?
I wonder about the Giant Bolster. Won the Argento in really testing ground, and I wonder if the ground was particularly testing on the Friday, whether he could perhaps get involved. I thought the application of the new headgear, the hood and the visor, seemed to really invigorate the horse, and he would be my outsider for the race. He was second in the 2012 Gold Cup. He was fourth last year. He likes, any sort of ground, really. He does handle any sort of ground, so even if it did come up good, he'd potentially get involved. He does sometimes guess a bit at his fences, which would be a concern. But should Bobsworth and Silviniaco Conti fail to fire, he might be up there.
Okay, and Graham?
Harry Topper reminds me of Master Oates.
I do remember. He was my first ever Cheltenham Gold Cup bet. I ran home from school, 3:15 the bell went, and anyway, carry on. Yeah.
He's very similar, isn't he? He's not a great jumper, but Master Oates was obviously a more solid jumper than Harry Topper, but he relishes testing ground, and if it came up really, really deep, which it very rarely does now at Cheltenham, then Harry Topper would have a chance because they'd go a little bit slower pace, I think, all the way around, and it'd give his jumping a chance as well of holding up. But probably betting on the ground on the first day and heavy would be a massive price, wouldn't it? So
yeah, I mean, Good to Soft is the favourite at the moment for it, and you would suspect that Simon Clace won't let it get heavy.
No, it's not going to be that bad. So I couldn't have him. And Captain Chris, I remember last year, Watson, I having a great sparring session over Captain Chris. He doesn't go right-handed. He surely can't win a Gold Cup. He's a horse of huge talent. I mean, if there was a Gold Cup on a right-handed track, he'd be a big player. But no, nothing at a massive price. I do think the race is a two-horse race between the two favourites. I just struggle to see how Silviniaco Conti is going to hold Bobsworth up the hill. Okay, so Bobsworth for you, Graham and John.
Silviniaco Conti for me.
Oh, right, good.
I really fancy the horse. I thought that when I went to Paul Nichols's at the start of the season, I thought he looked an absolute picture, and I've backed him every race so far this season. It's not worked out too badly. I'll back him again for the Gold Cup.
Good man, good man. Right, well, thank you very much for watching. Coming up in part 2, we'll be looking at best of the rest on Gold Cup Friday.
William Hill, the home of betting.